another day is here. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is a show my people. Billies our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that we feel happen like I got blue skies. I don't feel that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Billies, yeah. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play around, get where you need to. You can tune in from work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is a show my people. Billies our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that we feel happen like I got blue skies. I don't feel that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Billies, yeah. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB.
WUB WUB Morning Vibes for today, Monday the 21st of October 2024. I'm Mose Hyde hosting today, and I want to welcome you to our house as we get the day started. All our listeners of radio viewers of XTV, those getting us via our social media apps or social media streams, getting us via simulcast coverage. It's great having you here on board as we get ready to open up this conversation for you in a new week. Right now, of course, we hope that as you have gotten up to this new day, that your most important asset, good health, is with you, that your energy level is high, vibrations positive, and that you've got time and space to share quality time with us, and as well even jump in, tell us what's going on with you. That's the way it works around here. And so right now, as you should know, if you've been around WB before, that we don't just jump into the deep end. Now what we try to do is to kind of settle in, and part of settling in means we get you up to date with a little bit of news. But first we're going to lead off with what we've got from the National Meteorological Service. The Met Service lines us up with today's forecast. And doing the honors today, forecaster Tariq Matthews.
Belize, moist and unstable conditions continues to linger over our area. The 24-hour forecast, skies will be cloudy with sunny breaks today and cloudy at times tonight. Some showers, periods of rain and isolated thunderstorms will affect most areas today, especially northern and central areas. Then, shower activity will decrease over most areas tonight, except for the south. The maximum temperatures for today will reach 85 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 88 inland and 77 up in the hills. The low temperatures for tonight will be around 78 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 75 inland and 67 up in the hills. The winds from the open sea will be from the northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and the sea conditions will be choppy to moderate. A low tide will occur this morning at 7:18, a high tide this afternoon at 1:31, another low tide this evening at 6:09, and another high tide just after midnight at 12:25. The sun rose this morning at 5:47 and will set this evening at 5:26. The moon will set this morning at 10:11 and will rise tonight at 9:21. The outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night, skies will be cloudy at times. Showers or thunderstorms will be isolated, except for a few more, mainly over the south Tuesday morning, northern areas Tuesday afternoon, then mostly along the coast Tuesday night. In the tropical weather outlook, at 6 a.m. this morning, Tropical storm Oscar was located near latitude 20.2 degrees north and longitude 75.3 degrees west, or about 5 miles west of Guantanamo, Cuba. Oscar was moving to the west at 2 miles per hour with a maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour. For more details on our forecast products, please visit our website at nms.gov.bz. With that, we end this morning's forecast from the Belize National Met Service.
Private radio in Belize since 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
Areas of Coastal Town and villages in the Coastal District experienced flooding, which started during the passage of Tropical Storm Nadine and continued thereafter. NEMA officials report that during landfall, one shelter was opened, but no one moved in. In the hours after, however, residents began reporting damage due to flooding and called out authorities to assist. Flood warning remained in effect over the weekend for the Rio Hondo and New River in the north, and residents downstream were advised to remain vigilant. During the height of the storm, there were strong winds in the north and coastal areas. Communities in parts of the Orange Walk district also reported flooding. Tropical Storm Nadine made landfall at 10 a.m. Saturday in Belize with winds of up to 50 miles per hour, but fortunately there were no reports of damages to infrastructure and the housing stock. Tropical storm conditions continued hours after landfall, and all clear was declared at 6 p.m. Out west, the wooden bridge in San Ignacio town became impassable due to flooding at several feet Saturday, with the flood waters almost reaching the area of the stalls at the market. However, the water started receding overnight, but the bridge was still impassable Sunday night. The Ministry of Education advised all school managements and principals to be sensitive to students and teachers who would have challenges getting to school due to flooded roads or yards, particularly in northern and central areas of the country. Furthermore, it notes that students and teachers should not be penalized for absences or tardiness related to these conditions. The minister says if roads are inaccessible, it should be informed so that permission can be given to use other forms of learning. Following the voting of 65% of United Democratic Party delegates at the Unity Convention of the Alliance for Democracy to recall Mose Bauer, Tracy Panton was installed as the interim leader of the UDP. Out of 347 votes cast, 334 were in favor of the recall and 13 voted no. The Belize City Civic Center was packed for the event on Sunday, which also saw the participation of some notable participants, including former UDP Minister Anthony Boots Martinez, current Queen Square Senate Bearer Godwin Haylock, and even former Minister Erwin Contreras, who came out of the woods to support Panton, 100% as he told us. Also present was former CEO for Prime Minister Dean Barrow, Audrey Wallace, who stated that there is a need for a reset and she's hopeful that Panton will be given the opportunity to unite the party. However, the first deputy leader of the party, Honorable Hugo Pat, did not show up, and neither did Dr. Amar Figueroa nor the only elected UDP Mayor Earl Trapp from San Ignacio. The AFD has crossed one hurdle, but more remain as they recognize that Bauer will not go quietly into the night and will relinquish his two top posts, that of UDP leader and leader of the opposition. In the case of the latter, a resolution was passed to the convention that it is the will of the majority of the delegates for Panton to also be the new leader of the opposition in the House of Representatives, given that she now commands the majority support of delegates of the party. She spoke with the media after the convention had concluded.
It's a steep hill. We expect it to be a steep hill, but we made a step in the right direction today. And that step was for the United Democratic Party. That step was for the country, but most importantly, Jews, that step is for the people of Belize. The United Democratic Party is an institution that is 51 years old. 51 years old. And the institution is not a building. The institution is the people who have gathered here in the thousands to make their voices heard. We are not here to break up the party. Our call to shine, and our call to Michael Perry Feet, and our call to Alberto August, and our call to all those standard bearers who decided they were going to sit on the fence is to join us under the tent. There's room enough for all of us, because it is time for us to be the voice for the people who voted for us and who asked us to be in the House National Assembly and to represent their interests. I am now the interim leader of the United Democratic Party. The mandate by the delegates and the mandate by the UDP supporters who are out here today in the thousands is a clear indication, and I will take up that mandate and I will lead this party. I will ensure that the party is united, and I will do everything in my power to have the party rebuild to its days of glory.
Declared as new chairman of the UDP was attorney Sheena Pitts, while Lee Mark Chang was declared vice chairman. Through the form, a statement was issued by the Bauer executive denouncing the convention and decrying the AFD's use of the UDP name. Former UDP Senator Audrey Matura, who says she and two others were instrumental in drafting the UDP's constitution, affirmed it was followed by the holding of the convention.
Before they had this new constitution, they had a really flimsy constitution, and a lot of things had happened. The UDP had suffered a massive defeat. That was 1998. Horrible. And Manuel Esquivel then said, I'm leaving. Dean Barrow took over. I became involved, and the three major collaborators in crafting the new constitution was Ambrose Tillit, Senator Ayuso, and myself, because it's like we came on board and said we won't come on board and just go under the old constitution. That constitution then built in a recall system, and it even built in a disciplinary system, and it's more structured. It wasn't what it is today. That constitution is very well structured now, and you notice that they will have a reform committee to revise the constitution either further to keep up with times. And there are a lot of things that changed. Like, who could have envisioned a situation like today? Having given that background now, yes, under the constitution as it stands, they triggered the process where they were to send the petition, where the chairman was to act on it, where the party leader was to call the convention. They triggered all the proper processes. Unfortunately, the now defunct party leader, I'll call him, refused to act on it. And his chairperson, Mr. Michael Perfit, and his deputy, Ms. Alberto Agas, refused to act on it. So what they have done is literally violated the Constitution and failed to do their part. Now, remember, the supreme authority of the United Democratic Party is the National Convention. They have different tiers. You have membership, you have National Convention, National Party Council, blah, blah, but this is the ultimate decision maker. So all you needed to do is to convene them, and once convened, they legitimize everything. Once they had the quorum, and once they had, so for the quorum, they need like 200 and something. I can't remember the exact figure. By the time I checked, they already had 320. Once you have quorum, you can start the convention. And from that quorum, you only need 2/3. They have more than that. They have more than the quorum. They have 402 right now, delegates. And those are the people who are voting. Now, people say, was it a legitimate convention? It is, because the ultimate people are the members. So once you, the delegates, show up, and you're properly convened. And I have noticed that they went through all the proper processes. That was important. They went through all the proper processes, so they have been well advised legally. First, they made sure that they had the resolutions. They had to resolve to remove Michael Perfit as chairman, and then resolve that there will be an interim chairperson, which is Ms. Jackie Willoughby, so that then she can legitimately act where he failed to act. So they are on track, in my opinion, they are on track with complying with the constitution of the UDP.
Reports emerged after the convention that Barrow had police placed at UDP headquarters so no one would enter. 39-year-old Lenny Bengoche was injured in a shooting incident in Ladyville, Belize District at around 8:30 Saturday night. He was riding a bicycle on Ebert Quilter Street when two men emerged from some bushes and fired at him. He was struck to the chest and rushed to the KHMH, where he is listed in stable condition. The body of Guatemalan national 53-year-old Neri Antonia Cardona Sagostume was found floating in the Mopan River near the western border Saturday afternoon around 1:48 p.m. The body had no signs of injuries and no foul play suspected. Sagastume's brother told police he left home on October 16 in Vogue to Melchor but had not returned. A post-mortem awaits. That's the end for news update here inside WB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. We will take ourselves a small break, and when we come back on the other side, we're going to open up for a conversation. You're listening to Creme Radio, you're watching XTV. We will be right back.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports.
All right, welcome back. This is the WB Waker Belize Morning Vibes for today, Monday, the 21st of October, 2024. This is when we open up for conversation. We want to get you on board, hear your thoughts, your views, your opinions. You do so by giving us a call at 280-5848, hosting until 9. And of course, you get to dictate topics by calling in. Otherwise, we have to utilize the space and engage on matters that we want to put and table into this discussion format here that we have on Creme Radio and on XTV. Firstly, of course, we got a little bit of what we call a little unwelcome visitor over the weekend in the person of Tropical Storm Nadine, and kind of crept up on us. Sneaky, a real really deceptive and dishonest little weather system kind of tiptoed into the yard and jumped through the window a little bit. Thankfully, it was a small, weak intruder. So based on all reports, nothing much was done by this intruder. We do have some flooding going on in the north, and for those who are experiencing those floodings, we know that that can always be very unpleasant and to some extent can actually cause damage, especially to your appliances and all that stuff. Tremendous inconvenience. And we know there's a bit of flooding going on out west that more than likely is going to creep its way down into areas of the river valley, because that's where the water comes. But at the end of the day, when we consider what could have been or what these things could become, we have to say, well, good riddance to you, Nadine. Go about your business, you go about your business. We got some rain, we got a little bit of windy conditions, and but ultimately it just goes as a kind of reminder that though we are on the tail end of the hurricane season, we're not out of the woods, and how quickly these things can happen. And again, this are the kind of trouble where very this is kind of like the kind of thing that could catch us off guard, because to some extent, Nadine, if we are to be truthful, it was always during the week if he didn't really call attention for anything, and night might not have had the time to strengthen or anything like that, but it could have been a different scenario. It could have been a different scenario where, let's say, it could have reached a hurricane status, and then that becomes even problematic. So, yeah, it didn't, but it kind of shows you why you could never really lose your focus and lose your attention with these things. And this is always a little weak area where we it's not like when we think of systems and we can see them coming from a long distance, they're telegraphing to us that, yes, hello, I'm big, I'm strong, I'm Lincoln in a couple of days. Generally, we can do well with that. When it takes place in the Western Caribbean, when it takes place in, off the Gulf of Honduras and all of that, then we have to be really, really attentive. We don't have a lot of time to respond, and so I'm sure there was not a lot to respond to, just to kind of make sure that everything is lined up and stuff like that. But we have to be reminded of just how sometimes just how sneaky and the range of possibilities. I think even the weather experts were kind of like, it could not, it might just be a rain. You don't know. This is it's where those little range come in, and they can be very uncomfortable. But all in all, we just give thanks every time we are able to get out of one of these little threats, basically unscathed. We kind of just give thanks. We should. We have to. So that's the way it goes. We have to reach out to our collaborating partners in Corozal, the Palmer family, who for years have been, we've had a great relationship with them. They have the radio station out in Corozal, Rainbow FM, and they've always been supportive, have always had a spirit of collaboration with us, in particular the WUB. And so we want to give our heartfelt condolences to the Palmer family on the loss of their matriarch. And we know that it's always a difficult time when you lose your mom, and so we just want to reach out to you guys and let you know that you're in our thoughts, and we hope that you have the strength. In particular, I have to reach out to the Palmer family of Houston because we do have a very close relationship with them. You should know that. And so to Miss Carol and your husband who lost, Paul, who lost his mom here, and of course to Erland and Larry, we know that it's a very difficult time, so we want to just reach out and tell you that you're in our thoughts, and nothing but love here through this very difficult time for you guys. So salute to our colleagues in the North. We know that it's a very difficult time that you're going through. It's 4 minutes after 7 o'clock inside the WB Wakeability's Morning Vibes, and at this point in time we kind of jump into at least topic that I think is of consequential. So it was a sitting of the House on Friday, and one of the topics that came out was the fact that the country is looking for its new Auditor General. Now we've gone through the whole aspect of the Auditor General has been a thing, and we've been involved. So we've had conversations with the outgoing Auditor General, Dorothy Bradley. We've had her on the show multiple times. We are also very cognizant. We've had with us the President of the Public Service Union, my good brother, Dean Flowers, who on behalf of his members has publicly criticized and been very opposed to even the reappointment as someone who had already reached retirement age, and was very critical and very displeased with the performance. And he was, on behalf of his members, they've come out to say this is what's going on. Multiple criticisms of the performance of the office and the position of the Auditor General, both internally and as well with the professional responsibilities of that particular position. And we are also very aware, I've been conversations coming with people who work in that office who have kind of reached out to express the fact that we have what's been going on for a long time. There's been a serious division, a serious fissure, a serious break, and you have, based on what has been reported to me, a number of the people who work in that office who've basically been put on the sidelines. Their report to me has been that they basically show up to work, but they're not given any work. And so it's so this, whatever sentiments you have, and where facts begin and where things might be distorted or whatever, one of the things that I am absolutely confident in saying is that there's been a lot of trouble and a lot of instability, and I don't see how we could have been getting the best possible version of this department. Who is at fault for that? Who carries the majority of that blame? are things that vary according to who you speak to. But from this vantage point, from this standpoint, those are my thoughts. But I think ultimately, I feel that at this point in time, the leadership of the country has to be found guilty of gross negligence. Gross negligence in performing a standard level duty. Making sure that the important positions on the ship are always manned properly, and that there is a system in place to ensure that we don't have any disruption and we don't have any inefficiencies. That is standard operating requirements of the leadership chosen by us. And whether that is at the immigration department, whether that's at all the departments you can think about, including the Auditor General's office and the department that does the auditing of our finances or national finances. But obviously not all departments are created equal. All must be handled with complete professionalism, and all must be functioning, and all must be supported by leadership, but not all are created equal. The audit department and the office of the Auditor General and the people who are there is one of those areas of government, one of those areas of the public service that is of a higher level of importance. Anybody that is in business knows that managing your financial numbers is one of the most consequential things in ensuring the stability and the functioning and the proper functioning and the ability to hold accountable the performance of those who you are put in place to run that business. You have to have the capacity to be able to account for every cent, every dollar, because that is the way a business is able to function. Regular business needs to have that internal capacity and can't be negligent of that. A business that just has annual gross movement of funds through it of a couple of $100,000 has to make sure that it has the internal capacity to be on top of its numbers. And whether that is the proprietor of the business or they have enough funds to bring in an actual professional to do so, and if it's not a private ownership, but if it's something where it's a limited liability company and it has directors and all of that, then it becomes, no, this is not even a question. A business must be audited, because you can't have a company where you cannot have the numbers being examined and being accessible. It's just not the way it works. The business cannot. People cannot be a part. You can't have a company. You could have a private company, and you don't have to report to anybody, but you still have to report to yourself. If you want your business to make it, you can't run a panada shop and have no idea about your numbers. So, but if you have a company, you have a business, especially if it's a limited liability company or something like that of that nature, you have to have audit being done. It's you have to be able to be on top of it. So the importance of the work that is done here cannot be overemphasized, cannot be exaggerated. I mean, this is how we know what's going on with the money that we contribute. This is how we know that things are being done properly. This is how we know that the spending is being done legitimately. This is how we know we're not being screwed as core functioning of this department. So when you have a situation where initially, I think it was 2 years ago, the retirement age of the Auditor General comes in and you say, you know what, we don't have somebody, so we'll make this provision where you are going to return. We're going to give you a contract because we don't have somebody to step in. And that caused pushback from the public service. Naturally, it's like, and we should, and people have a right. It's like, as qualified as you may be, we have to question, well, what's going on? A functioning business knows, okay, very aware, this person is going to retire. Okay, so who's going to step in? You have a situation where, obviously, that's not what happened. You say, no, we have to extend you. Okay. So your system failed to properly have any kind of natural succession, natural development of talent. But you were able to, in the face of criticism, extend your window of opportunity to correct these things. So you buy yourself time. You run up on the deadline of the retirement of the Auditor General, never have a person to come in place. And remember now, this is not a person that is serving them. This is a position that is serving us, a critical position. I mean, we can all agree on that. You end up with a situation where 2 years in, I believe, and now you have to find somebody else, and then you come to the nation and you say, we don't know. Firstly, what do you say to the people who have been serving in this? This is, to my mind, this is not something that you turn the other way, or you just ignore, or you just play like, oh, that's not something. Whether or not you know that's something or not, I tell you right now, there is no dispute. These are absolutely something. Absolutely something, because it is the heights of complete carelessness and negligence. How do you not? And it's not only a matter of carelessness, it's not just a carelessness, the fact that we are being told that, okay, well, we will have one temporary situation. Imagine how you would feel if they say, oh, you know what they go on. Let's say we have a situation where the commissioner of police has to move out, and there are those who are his fans and those who are not. But at some point, he's going to go. And they say, well, we don't really have nobody where we feel strong enough to become the commissioner. So we have one temporary situation, and we put out an advertisement to see if we could find one. You're going to be like, no, that don't work, sir. You have somebody where the deputy, and then that deputy has proven itself and know that, okay, we are preparing you to be the next commissioner, because you understand, you not just want to left that till that situation come to a head, and then you don't know what you want to do. Well, that's essentially what has happened here. I mean, on Friday, this is what the Prime Minister told the nation in the House of Representatives on Friday. I mean, can we play the clip that we had on our news on Friday, where this situation is explained by the Prime Minister? Let us hear directly from the Prime Minister, please, on this. Christy, if we can just share that clip. This is WB Wake Up Billy's Morning Vibes. Getting started Mose, Hyde in house. Remember, the phone line is 280-5848. Do we have the clip, Christy? Could we play it, please?
I want to be clear, Madam Speaker, that the notice went out for a qualified person to fill the post of the Auditor General, and we hope that this process will be concluded by the end of the year. Again, I know a lot of people get excited about it, but we are trying to do our very best to be able to get a qualified person. Even within the Office of the Auditor General, there are challenges as to who best can fit this post. So we believe that the best way to do that is to advertise it, and the people in the office, they also can also apply for that post. It's going to be an open and transparent post. We have no hidden agenda. We want to ensure that we get the right person. We have agreed, and we say it, and I'm sure the opposition will say it, that this is one area that we have to strengthen. We are working with the IMF as it is right now, Madam Speaker, to find ways of how we could strengthen the auditing the Office of the Auditor General, and also to bring up all our accounts up to date. So it's not something that we are that we deliberately don't want to do. We are working on it. It's a long process, and I know one of the challenges that we always have is that now we're competing with the private sector. If we don't have an adequate person, and I'm saying if, at the Auditor General's office, and I've not spoken to anyone in that office, then we have to go outside of that office, even within the government service or the private sector. And then that's where it becomes a little bit more trickier, because in the private sector you tend to, well, now, especially now with a very tight job market, we'll have to be able to maybe have to increase the salary that's been offered to them, which is ironically one of the suggestions that the NTUCB is now saying, that we may need to offer even a bigger package to get a good Auditor General. So before the leader of the opposition tries to score some political points, I want to make it very clear there's no hidden agenda. It is only for 4 months. We're advertising the process. You all are going to be kept informed, and we do our very best to find an adequate Auditor General.
So, essentially, and in addition to those comments, laying out the problem, we have to advertise and we have to compete with the private sector, and maybe we have to find more money to make this position be more attractive. Remember now, this is an entire department where you have professional public servants who have been doing this work. And essentially what does not exist, which is the essential thing about the public service, is that the way it's supposed to perform is that you have people who are moving their way up. And what you have there now is an admission that, and if we quote the Prime Minister from the website for the Channel 7 News on Friday, from the same speech, the Prime Minister says, for too long we've just been hiring people just to hire people, political patronage, and because of that political patronage, today we are finding these challenges that we don't, for instance, the issue of succession planning, in many instances we don't have, and I don't mean it as a disrespect to the public service, and these are the words of the Prime Minister. If you look at the public service, it's like a pair. Small, highly competent technical people, and then the bottom is a lot of people that we just hire, and that they don't have the expertise. A, they don't have the expertise, and B, we don't give them the proper training to try to make them come up the ranks. Just keep them there and hire more people, and everybody will tell you that government have too many workers, but yet everybody in ministry will tell you they need more people, and they need more people because of that challenge that we are facing. So, I don't know if you get a point for confessing that you've essentially, you've created the wreck. You're basically saying that, okay, and then you are saying that you are aware of it, and then you're also saying, okay, well, we don't have people who are properly training and who are naturally developing and moving on up. So, for a long time, people have been complaining about the removal of the PS, the permanent secretaries, and in its place, the CEO. It's a political hire, meaning that the person who is in charge of the top official under the elected representative and member of cabinet as a minister is the CEO that runs a particular ministry. When the public service, originally, you would have a permanent secretary who was somebody that moved up the ranks. And one of the criticisms one of the things identified as the big problem with this change that was made was the impact it would have on the natural development and flow of people coming up, that you have now capped them off. they're not coming up the system. Now, if we put ourselves in a position where we understand what an Auditor General does, and ultimately we don't have a better process in place, the Auditor Generals are chosen by the political directorate. If we understand what the Auditor General does to a great extent, this is one of every position in the public service is one where we expect professional people of credibility and integrity. But the position of the Auditor General based on the job description and what they're supposed to do requires unique individuals who are absolutely impartial and are high character, high integrity people, because they report to us. They are tasked with providing reports to us on what's going on with our money business, and are tasked and are empowered to run investigations to find out if something is going wrong. So this particular process is not one where you act as if though you can call it out every day and say, oh, the corruption this and corruption that. But if you are not concerned about this particular reality that we have here, that we are being told we might not have the internal capacity within this department, the internal capacity for step up to that position. These are people that have been doing this, who have actually who've been doing the legwork. They're not equipped. All manners of challenges with that. But we've had the time. It's not like this just occurred to us that we would be in the need of an Auditor General replacement here in October of 2024. How on earth do we end up with a situation where we don't have nobody? If we don't have anybody, and now we have to go upon this this public search for that individual. Here be an individual where I have to go into that process and have to learn how bureaucracy works. Because you could be one certified accountant, you could go background in auditing and all of that, and have that credential there. But ask anybody and they'll tell you, working in some business, working as a accountant on your own is a different ball game than going in within the government bureaucracy, going within the public service and working. That's a culture adjustment. And besides being a culture adjustment, you're talking here about learning the ropes of how it works there, how that particular department is supposed to function. So at best, you could have an extremely skilled person. That person they want to have one learning curve to deal with. You don't just jump in and start work that department, how that department is supposed to work. That is why the ultimate situation, the ideal scenario is that this is somebody that is being groomed within that process, within that environment to become who is going to be the successor. And admitting to us that, oh well, we never really made a developer, we never made a build, we never made a hire with that in mind or whatever. It's like that don't make it better. This statement or this confessional statement of negligence and complete ineptitude is not good enough. This is alarming because of just the significance of that position. This is October of 2024, and we're saying we might end up with somebody, we should end up with somebody by the end of the year, the person who is going to be acting. So the person who is acting, you're saying, is not good enough. I don't know that to be a fact. And the people that are within that department, you're saying they are not good enough. I don't know that to be a fact. But this is what we are being told. And it's not a decision that we, as the equity stakeholders in nation state Belize, supposed to just find as well that no my business. It is absolutely a business. It is absolutely a business. Remember, this comes on the heels of tremendous public turmoil going on around this position and around the Auditor General's office and the Auditor General herself. And now to compound all of that, even after paying the price of that turmoil and that negative backlash that came out of the Public Service Union and all of that, the situation was, okay, we do this, we stick with this, we're going ahead, extra time. And after that time has elapsed, you still not got one ball game? You still not have nobody? That is inexcusable. That is utterly inexcusable, unacceptable, and has to be labeled as such and called out for such. You can't mix words with that. This is a nonsense. And again, we should be concerned, not just that they finally find somebody in that position. We should be concerned that whoever is chosen to be in that position, that's somebody of extremely high character and high integrity, and is absolutely competent, and is equipped, and is able to operate independently in that space and be able to get on that job day one and function. That's how important that position is. You can't have one day it's okay, we don't have one commissioner, we just want to have an interim situation. You can't have that. It's one of those positions where you just unimaginable that you will have one interim solution all over again. Because this was an interim solution that you had. You basically say, well, we don't have one special contract because we don't have somebody. So it is one of those situations where you can't really just say, oh, I don't have much to step on that and left that alone. No, because you really get, and again, we've done some of this. We've had these interviews. We've had, give thanks. We've had multiple conversations with the Auditor General herself, and we know who the outgoing Auditor General, and in fact, a lot of our understanding of that office and how it works has come from those conversations. They have taken place here on the WUB. Multiple times they have taken place on the Sunday Radio Review with Sister Yaya. And then we've also had a lot of understanding coming out of our conversations that we've had with the President of the Public Service Union, Brother Dean Flowers. So even in all of that back and forth, it has been enlightening. One of the things that you have to understand, every single body, this is another position where you could have somebody where no know who they serve, we're not completely competent and professional, and we don't have tremendous good character and integrity. Because we done already there behind the 8 ball in a trying for whole public spending of accountable. When you don't have the most efficient and most qualified and the most the optimized solution in that particular office, it is to everybody's detriment, whether you care about it or not. We can't say we want accountability, we want transparency, and then we can be told, man, we not got nobody yet. We not got nobody yet. How could we not have somebody? We're going to go to 2 cents cam, we take a break and come back.
WUB 2 cents come, and the question of the day, where I'm going around in the street and asking the question of the day is, where is the safest part of
Welcome back to the WUB Wake Up Believes Morning Vibes. Mose Hyde hosting on this Monday morning, 21st October 2024. Our telephone number 2805848 in case you want to jump in and express your thoughts. So this morning we've been, well, I should say I, got on the media right now, been talking about the fact that we've been told on Friday, in the sitting of the House, that we're on the lookout for the next Auditor General. And we were told that, you know, we could have go without it, could have just keep it the way it is, but we want to make sure we got Auditor General. I just want to remind you that when the outgoing Auditor General was reaching her retirement age and time for retirement several years ago, that this is exactly what happened. That we were told that, so what essentially we're saying is that he had to find. You know, the last time we gone through a situation like this, we can't find the person that may deal with the Integrity Commission. We're told we can't find, you know how, you know, easy to find somebody to run the Integrity, for chair the Integrity Commission. Like somehow when it comes to these entities that are about accountability and transparency, we don't got people where we could find. Again, when you bring on people, and like I could tell you right now, we have several positions, and it's hard to find. You could think a joke to find somebody where and be one host on the WUB. Yeah, I know can't just get anybody and say they want to be a host on the WUB. A lot of people don't want to be no host, they don't want to face that, you know. They don't have that in their background. It's not like you're going to school or go train for being a host for the WUB. Right? You know, we don't got one department of people where we have no resources where we groom people for say, okay, they want to be this one be the next host. So when somebody stops, it's a struggle to find, okay, who want to come in after that? Right? We're not small business. But one of the things where we're very proud of is that very often we want to get somebody who might not have any. First of all, we don't have, if you look on the educational curriculum, really and truly, it's not like we have any great portion anywhere academically where people get trained for this whole production either behind or in front of the camera. Try doing a little thing here, might go on a little course here, but most people, they learn it kind of interested, they might learn it from somebody and maybe apprentice somewhere, and that's how they learn. And in fact, we have to build ourselves from, okay, you might not have the experience, but we want to go environment, we want to build you up. So even if you're hiring, you admit that, well, hire people out of just political patronage, because that again, that was admitted. Okay, because, okay. And like with anything, you will have people where out of that pool of people where you're bringing in, you have some people where, take advantage of that, they're not serious, then just to collect one check. That happens. But you have people who are motivated, ambitious, have drive, want to learn. When you say that you don't have an environment internally where that people they get nurtured and they learn, that to me that are just complete failure. Because where you really take one, them persons in an environment, then they learn from the growing up, coming up, the techniques and how you run an audit, and they learn, they have certain whatever, and then they develop. And now you have to prepare them for leadership. So who job that is to make sure that people are getting their leadership training and have access to leadership training, resources to make sure that they got professional, upgrading their level of qualifications and constantly doing that. Like who for create that? Who do that? Like how is that an oversight? How is that something you say to yourself, that's on a back burner issue? And you don't make it a priority. I know a couple of people who are actually working at the office, and people who have reached out to me who have had issues over the past, and I know that these are people who have been involved. Again, it's like, how do you feel if you're working in that area there, and essentially you said, well, they don't really got the training and we have done a poor job. So we essentially said that there's nobody fit for leadership there. How could that be? That makes no sense to me. And if that is true, then like the leadership begins at the political directorate. Like we're not supposed to, like if you struggle to find, like I can't think of a department where you and say, like if we struggle to find the next chief met officer, like how we have to make sure we have who will be the next in line to be the chief met officer. We have to know who are next in line, who will step up and be the commissioner of police when that time they come. You have people who aspire to be the head of multiple departments. That's the way it works. With all its faults, the public service is an important part of, yes, you have good, bad, and in between in the public service. And people have different opinions about the public service, but in my view, not because I could cite the shortcomings or the struggles, that you can identify the fact that how critically important the public service is. This is the tool used by the political directorate to get things done. It's like you hire a man for chop your yard, he either they come with the weed eater or they come with a machete. That's what the public service is. And if you hire a man to come and chop your yard, and he tell you, well, I dare to chop your yard, but give me a time because I may forget to find out how I put gas in this, or I may forget, I don't know how I get my machete sharp. Like you don't want to hear that. The public services, this is the tool that implements, this is the tool that provides, this is the tool that really and truly executes. So when you find out that that tool has not been kept sharp, then you want to ask yourself, then are you serious about doing this work if you don't care about your tools? And I'm not saying human beings are tools. I just say that just metaphorically, like we said, this is how things are enabled. It's like then are the people where we link with when we engage for the services coming out of the government. All manners of services are provided through this thing called the public service. And yes, you could have different ways to look upon it and say, this part ain't not work, we need for change. You could have all the conversation where you want about efficiency and all of that. At the end of the day, this is still how it functions, this is how it works, and now we have one particular office where now for their job, that we make sure that for we money not to get waste, for we resources not to get waste, for we money not to get stolen, for we resources not to get stolen. And they have the power, according to our constitution, this office, to go and look into every single thing and provide a report. And you tell me that in October 2024, we can't find a captain for that ship because we never build that capacity for leadership within. And we just say, okay, I understand. We are waiting to see who you find from amongst the civilians, from amongst the professionals who apply for that job. And we have to hope and trust, because this is how it works. We have to hope and trust that that person there want be a person where, yes, can get hired, but want be a person, a principle, and want be a person, a character. And we don't want to be affected by the fact that, well, that's still a Yugi on the job. To my mind, this is, you know, at least, again, with all the faults, when you look at the way the system works in the U.S., the executive might get to choose who want to be the secretary, who want to run this, who want to run that, but all them persons have to get vetted, and then people have to go and get grilled by the Senate. One lot of the processes, they don't get aired unless they want high-level position where there is a, you know, there might be something that emerges where contentious, and then you might give that sitting and you might be put on. But for a long list of positions, when you get hired for that, you still have to go answer questions, and you want to get investigated, you want to search, to vet you, to see if you could stand up to perform with the kind of efficiency, you got a resume and everything about who demonstrates that you have the character. You know, to my mind, it's a moment we have to decide who we are be and where we are be about, whether we priority. And if we collectively have nothing to say about this, then we are saying this means very little to us. And yeah, continue on, do your best, find somebody when you do find, you know, just make sure you got somebody and then do that. It's like, that's not how you want to get the best out of this thing. And I hope, and I do expect, that you will have something coming out of the PSU. I will try to reach out to Brother Dean. I sent him a message this morning to hear exactly what the Public Service Union feels about essentially what was said on Friday. Like I said, I know that this is, give respect, the whole quarrel, we tried to be like as best we could, just as fair as we could be. We've had conversations with the outgoing Auditor General, and in fact, that she teach me a lot about, you know, how this thing functions and how the office functions, and we have a very cordial relationship with her, and we have maximum respect for Dean Flores. So the whole aspect of that collision was not a very pleasant time, but still an important process. We have a call. Prem, good morning.
Good morning, Denise. Good morning, Mose. I had a try to call you because I have one deadline for me, but I had to, because you've been so thorough and I think objective about this concern issue that UES has been advocating on for years. I even forget that I had a campaign going. I have to go find the book on company numbers, and where I was holding the state accountable on two wrongs for the years of what's it called? It's the statements, the accounting statements from the different ministries and departments that have not been submitted to the Auditor General's office, I think for like 10 years, which is what they need to hold the ministries and department accountable. I believe that the Accountant General has a responsibility. I don't know when I listen to the Prime Minister just now, it makes the excuse, this is a long time, it's 10 years. And so for the Auditor General do the work and the team do the work, they need the accounting statements. And for 10 years, they're not submitted. And that's one. And then two, the former accountant, Auditor General and her team had submitted the Auditor General report. They have to give it to the clerk of the National Assembly, and then it's laid on the table in front of the House. I think there are like two that they've given to the clerk, and it has not been laid on the table. So there are not, and there's so much work for enough people though. And then this is the consistently, because we're running out the Public Accounts Committee, then they turn into the Joint Public Accounts Committee. So pretty much what will happen, since 1981, there has not been any financial accounting of the public purse. And that's one of the prime reason why whoever whoever the Auditor General is, really has to be one person of high character and skill, and also have to have courage and good leadership ability to lead one team. Now, one of the things where I know to be true, because they happen in most ministries and departments, is there are a number of people who are political appointees. So just like how we have one concern with going from permanent secretary to CEOs without having no meaningful campaign or asking the leisure people this is the way we want, that's always one sticky issue, because once people are political appointees or it is known that they had some political alliance or allegiance to one CEO or to one minister, right away there are red flags that this is not a person where I have the courage to hold the state accountable when it comes to we bag of money. Now, even if you get that, so then you have one public accounts committee going to work. Anytime so how I understand it, the accountant, you need the financial statement from the accountant general. They submit it. When you go and look for our as a general report, they complaint systemically are the same, the recommendations are the same. Okay, so the clerk put it in front of the house, then they go front of they call it the Joint Public Accounts Committee. That's one of the committees that the House of Representatives. It never go any further than that, because usually they don't have like somebody from the opposition. I think right now it might be Tracy Panther, who would be the chairperson. But the majority of the people in the Joint Public Accounts Committee, they're from the sitting administration. And anytime they go, they say, no, you can't start with me. You have to go back to the other administration. You can't start for we account. You have to go back. And then every administration said the same thing. So that it never moved past the Joint Public Accounts Committee, so that just stop it short. I don't think the kind of system never designed. Now imagine, when you have political parties who don't even register, now they want whole other groups and organizations accountable for being non-profit and non-governmental organizations, but the two major political parties not even register. So how they want hold anybody accountable when they want to get back the unaccountable money, they even register? That just show people how entrenched this corruption is, this not holding people accountable is. And that's why they could go every March and have budget and just spend money. That's why everybody want to be politician and want to be liar, because that's two of the ways you could get quick come up and say, you have to be competent. Because then you have to get skill. And I think one constituency have like over 2,000 people. That it to be a politician, have access to power and influence of the wee bag of money, when the majority of Belizean people's lives just get worse every single day. So at the end of the day, you know, instead of people get a government what they deserve, that we the people, you know, that we the keep loaded, they happen, and we have to ask ourselves, why we the business for ourselves? And even within the public service, even within the union, people have political alliance. We really,
I think, yes. I think they're the way the system works and the way the political directorate works, every single body has they have one party political, let's give it a, they have one, you know, like for they have the pH scale for acid and alkaline, and if you're there, I think under 7, I think it's acid, and over 7 it's alkaline. It could be the other way around. I don't stake my head on that, because a long time I studied that. But just like how you're on a pH scale, the political directorate, all these political entities, every single person has a blue-red scale. So you got one blue-red rating, I got one blue-red rating, every single body got a blue-red rating. They, you know, if you're not personally active right now, they want go on and find out about your pa or your ma, and if they can't get your blue-red rating after that, then go in and your grandpa, your granny, but they want get one. So I'm saying here that an argument can be made that any and everybody that has been chosen, that and they will be chosen. You see that they, you know, let us think about human nature here. You don't think that the way it works, that the people who will now choose, I think the Prime Minister says the application process comes through the Ministry of Finance. Do you think that they are look for somebody where they know to be one absolute bulldog, pain at the ear, no key, no watch face, no watch color, just then about that? Or do you think they're going to try to find somebody where they feel that one, what I call, somebody want to play the game? Human nature being what human nature is. You want to try to find somebody where you want to think about and say, okay, the public want to know that I don't just hire somebody who just completely on a blue-red scale. Let us say 1 being navy blue, 10 being blood red. They're definitely not going for nobody where pinkish or whatever, but they might have the decency if you don't get one navy blue. And get somebody where maybe slightly pastel, manageable, but people know them and know, okay, this person here, yes, the guy lean, but got a reputation for being fair and being a professional and worry about professional reputation. That's the way we ultimately get in these scenarios, human nature being what it is. With all of its faults and all of its wickedness and whatever, the way the American system tries to resolve this natural bias in the system is to say you have to be vetted by another process. So the immediate executive and directorate get to choose, and now we're going to broader body of people where you have to go face, and automatically from a lot of them positions will take place is that they immediately, there is a FBI investigation of that person to ensure that there is nothing where stands out. Then that person now has to go and face one broader a slice of the political directorate from both sides now, and if there is anything where you can't answer properly, or if there is anything that got pan you, then that becomes one problem for make you could take that position. Obviously, they're not a perfect system, but they're one system where speaks to the clear understanding of what that risk for try to find the best possible people for serving at these positions with part. Integrity is such an important thing. Because I would not say to you that somebody who has, you can't say that, oh, you know what, there's nobody where maybe have one slight blue rating when we don't have no integrity, we have integrity, or somebody from where say on the next side of the blue-red spectrum, we have people, you would have, I can't tell you that you don't have people with integrity. Now I can tell you that they're not like, oh, the world is overflowing with people with integrity. But you have people with integrity. And you have people where even though they might, say, okay, I've had a lean towards you, but in that position, I owe it to my professional credibility that I don't want to be perceived as if though I had somebody lucky, and once I take that position and understand, I know the bother with you again, and I come for you. The problem is that the system is not designed to ensure that that kind of person step in. And I think that is a part of the problem. But right now, the system not even preoccupied with me. If you have somebody that has moved up the rank, again, it's not only just a matter of integrity, it's a matter of making sure that individuals who are, every day, this is what they do for a living, ultimately, for this kind of work, being involved with it, especially with the bureaucracy, have clear advantages. That the person will want to develop leadership skills around so that they know how this beast works when they get in a position there and get this job done as best they can. what you have outlined is the overall problem with the engine, which it's important for us to understand that this is an engine where they work. So first of all, the vehicle not work, but if the vehicle forever work, you want to know that when we replace parts, we replace it with parts where that are a better version of itself, at the very least. Because if the part where you're going to get even worse than the part where they don't know, the chance that this engine will ever work, well, it's gonna worse than zero now. So what we are told is we not got the people. We even had the concern of the priority after we decide that we're going to extend the President Auditor General. For me, even make that a priority for start, that no we want to start that, you know. That no we want to start look for this person.
But what happened to the Deputy Auditor General? I thought they had like two.
They're essentially saying that they don't deem them as capable. They only deem them as being interim, temporary. That's essentially what was said without calling any position or calling any names. If you tell the nation all the problems with the caliber of human resources were available to you as an explanation why you don't have somebody right now, it is the throwing under the bus of the people who are presently there. That's what you have there. There's no other way to look on it. If you don't think that then people and question is that if somebody they presently acting in that position, but you don't think they're ready for it, that means that right now we don't have one functioning office of the Auditor General, because the temporary person in charge you not deem as being capable of being the person in charge. That's essentially what you've declared. I don't know if you see it another way, sister.
Not only that, brother. I feel that the Prime Minister single-handedly undermined the entire Auditor General team. Because the Auditor General is only, the acting Auditor General is only as good as the team. So when you look at the Auditor General, not just one person you're talking about, you know, that all these people, all the years of service, where I see you thing.
It's, again, I just feel that it was not something to just be said publicly. I mean, again, there was a level of confession. They say confession is good for the soul, but it does not excuse you from being held accountable to say to us that you have not been hiring with a priority for competence, to confess that you've not been concerned about making sure that people are being developed and being given the opportunity to become, to access the training, to have the resources to upgrade their personal level of expertise. To confess that it is one thing, but it doesn't make it less unacceptable and unpleasant. That is where we are, and we are talking here about almost to some extent you are running people's business, you are running a person's company, and the area that you have not given any attention to is the area where you are able to provide vetted statements about their monies. In any small to mid-level, big companies, that would be something that would not be tolerated, because anybody with sense knows, then how do we stand a chance of not being taken for a ride? I think we have to go to break, but I just find it to be something that had to be just called out, that we are here again because we spoke about this. We had this conversation the last time around when they said, because even when you called in when the time was running out on the now outgoing Auditor General before she was rehired, and we were saying, well, who will be the next one? Remember, we had this conversation. And
yes, so one of the things I want to say is that one of the officers show you about the highest level of training. We met with the UEFA International Delegation in country in July, a small one, and we met with the former Auditor General and their team. I think they may just be getting ready to go to India. Like that Auditor General department, the people there, like the former Auditor General makes it business for the people and get trained regionally into they not kill people. One of the few places where I could guarantee kill people, so I don't know, brother. And then I want to call for the Auditor General Office to be independent because the budget is still handled through the Ministry of Finance. Now, I could see why the Prime Minister, the first time we just said we want to take who you or all the people in your party and opposition handle free money. No, we know corruption today. So, this is for the evidence that you to show this is a party because we don't want to we don't want to hold we are accountable financially. This thing to high heaven. I really appreciate the time we take this morning for going through this because I hear it, but I need to do other things, but really this we need that kind of energy at times.
All right.
We need to keep on this.
give thanks for the call. We'll take a
One love. Only the people are the people.
we'll take a break and come back.
I am one of the oldest, diverse, and most resilient
All right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Believes Morning Vibes. Mose is in the house with you on this Monday morning, the 21st of October 2024. Our telephone number is 280-5848. That's a live line for you to participate in the conversation. And this morning we've been talking about the vacancy, Auditor General vacancy, and all the accompanying excuses that we've been told as to why it will take time. And we are expressing, or we have been, I have been, and Sister Air joined in for a couple minutes there, expressing our disapproval with the fact that we are here again, and this is what's going on with a position that is as critical as that. And we kind of have made the argument about why this is not all the different things that are wrong about that, and where we find ourselves. But as a kind of accompanying reality of the kind of disrepair we find ourselves in, the kind of top-down way we run things, I have lamented, I have expressed the fact that the special Senate inquiry as a mechanism, not the people who are doing it. I don't have any particular problem or mean any disrespect to the honorable people who are trying to function as some kind of agent of accountability. We have the portico Senate sitting investigation. I thought that they had given up on that, and nobody was really calling out, nobody was really saying, well, what happened? Because I think most people had low to no expectations of what would come out. Obviously, as far as getting people to at least have to come forward and answer uncomfortable questions, that is the one thing, and you could probably get a couple news items out of it. Okay. But any sense that this is something that we are kind of just gripped by and hoping and thinking is going to become something where somebody's going to be held accountable, we're going to get to the bottom of it, we're going to get the truth. I don't know how many people were actually thinking like that. I could just speak for myself. I had never one of them. I had very little expectation, and in fact I felt this was not just exercise in, looking at it for what it is. We've been here and we have seen this thing happen before. We saw the Senate inquiry into immigration, we saw the Senate inquiry into Social Security Board. But we've seen it. We've seen it have these dramatic moments and then it becomes nothing, except I think in some instances we've had some kind of changes implemented as a result of it coming out. So we feel that this is something that, this is what we want, a functioning process where people have to show up and they have to answer questions and they have to answer truthfully at the highest level. And so when you end up with high-ranking officials of the administration essentially refusing to participate in the special Senate process, again, this has happened before, where people have gone there and essentially said, I don't have any answers. People have not shown up. And so this is when this happened last week, it's like, okay, no news in that. Again, just in case you needed more evidence to the fact that this is not good enough, not the people are not good enough, but the enabling, supporting laws, legislations, they are not strong enough. This is not built to achieve what we ultimately would want to see it achieve. It's not been designed to float, so it will never float. That's just the way it works. Laws of physics. Its density is such that it ain't going to float. If you want to float, you have to deal with the density. You want to say this work, then you have to change the powers that it has, enable it to have the power so that nobody can come and play simple games with this process. Unfortunately, right now they can. They can. All manners are playing around. This is not the way this is supposed to be. Unfortunately, this is what we have. We, the collective, people, general public, taxpayers, we should have something to say when it fails, rather than just say, well, I know he never may amount to something, I know people never may show up. Well, we have to understand why that is the case, and we have to demand that it be corrected, that it be strengthened, that it be adjusted, so that it does achieve the results that we say we want. Otherwise, we just waste one lot of good people time, one lot of good people energy, and just wishful thinking to go on there. Utter wishful thinking that somehow one process was not designed or empowered, enabled to find truth should find truth. That is fake. Just make we pretend like we will have one process of accountability. And that was speaking to people's genuine work when they put in to try to get the answers. It's obvious that people who work, the people who are part who are asking these questions, and they do their best. And they have one legal advisor and all of that. But not strong enough to make the big people, the powerful people sit down in our seat and have to answer questions truthfully or face consequences for not answering truthfully. So the very ability for come and say, show up, should have consequences. And those consequences for be dead in a plain sight. Know them dead, you don't have to guess it. Dead. You come, we call you, you've been subpoenaed, you show up, we have questions, you answer them truthfully. You can't come and say, I'm going to show up. Listen, the biggest that people have to show up when you hear the American Congress call them to come on. The biggest billionaires have to come and show up and then get grilled, and then get grilled all day. The biggest public official, when they are summoned, have to show up, answer questions, and answer those questions truthfully or face serious consequences. That is the level where accountability have to reach. Optional, come if I want, I no come. We think we're going to get out of it. We've seen this particular thing before. And I don't use any unpleasant term. We have seen this unfold. We've seen these inquiries. We see where they go. And we see we part and get stuck, and we see we part, but we just continue to do it. The same way. And the problem is not that we're not supposed to have them. It's not that we're not supposed to go after the truth. No, we have to improve the way we do it, empower the way we do it, and become one better version of it every time we do it. Not the same thing happen every time. You know what I call that? So we have to have one better performance. If we have to, when I say performance, not the people know what they do it. We have to demand the changes. That is our performance. We have to impose the changes. And again, you could say, well, that will never happen. I feel that is self-defeating. I think we should always feel like we pursue improvements, upgrades, we should always do it. And always expect it of ourselves and always demand it. Right now it is 8:35. We're going to take a break and come back. All right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose Hyde in the house on this Monday morning, 21st October 2024, or telephone number 2805848. It's hard now to just always be on top of when people pass, especially when we lose prominent people who've contributed significantly. Sometimes they pass, we don't know until a bit after. I am aware that over the weekend we lost an icon, a sports icon, more in my era of growing up as a boy. One of the names that rung out everywhere for football, and I'm talking about Super goleador striker Vicky Gongora. I more heard his feats on the radio and would later read it in the newspaper rather than see him play very often. I saw him play later on in his career. I didn't see him play with Burge. I saw him play when he eventually would be with Cheetahs. That's when I first saw Vicky Gongora play. But as a boy growing up, his name would be one of the names that would be synonymous with being a goal getter, one of the heroes of Sunday afternoons on the barracks. And we don't Chaco heroes anymore. We don't bill heroes often again. During that time, I think our athletes really loomed large upon our consciousness, especially as youths coming up. You know, we were inspired by their greatness and what they were able to achieve. And I am not as equipped as maybe say my father or maybe my uncle to speak on the exploits, and in the pages of their manual, of course, there's proper documentation of Vicky Gongora in his time, in his prime. We're talking here about one of our great stars. WB, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mose. How you doing today?
I'm okay, brother. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I just heard you mention the late Vicky Gongora.
Yeah.
As you know me as an American, but when I went to Belize at 13, I turned myself into a soccer player. I played this Vicky Gongora in his later part of his career. I was only like 16. He was about probably 26. I started young playing semi-pro in Belize, but Vicky Gongora played with joints at the time when I was playing with Wagia, with Perdomo, then with Gigante, 7-ton Cream, Benedict Lopez, Macali. He was a very aggressive striker up there. Once he shoots the ball, and you're a goalkeeper, you better grab that ball or not be a rebound boy, because he would charge after you like a bull. But I want to give shout outs to his family and everything. Like I said, I met him I played this 2 times, one at MCC and one at Colorado Stadium. And it's always been a pleasure to play against greats like that in that history. So big up to his family, and rest in peace, Vicky Gongora. You missed in the football family. Anyway, I'm done, Mose. Peace.
I will give thanks to your call, and again, we do send our condolences out to his family and to the football family as well. We know that he was well known within the football family and well loved, and so we acknowledge, and we know it's hard again to really properly, we're so poorly in documenting and making sure that we keep up to date, with these legends, right? It's a legend, and he passed according to what I was told over the weekend. And we pay our condolences, absolutely. This is Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for today, Monday, the 21st of October. And what we're going to do, just to make sure we have a nice separation from that, we will take ourselves a break and come back.
In the heart of Belize,
All right, welcome back to the WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes on this first morning of the week. Went through the weekend with Nadine, a little bit of rain and stuff. We know that there's still reports of some flooding going on. We want to keep updated with that via the news, but for the most part, we kind of, Nadine kind of sneaky and creepy, but we kind of never get any much, let us say, impact. Rain, some wind, but it does show you how these systems can really sneak up on you, and we have to learn that lesson. We are still in the hurricane season, so we do remind you that we can't be aside a relief as yet. We still have to remain vigilant and hopeful, and wish that 2024 hurricane season come to an end without us being negatively impacting any kind of deep way. And hope not. For example, we know the stories about some of the flooding going on in Corozal district. Obviously that remains a concern. People are being impacted by that, and I know out west similarly there's some extra flooding things to deal with. We are going to return, if we have the help, tomorrow morning, all right? Keeping it WUB side. If we have the health and strength, we're going to return right here on Crim Radio and on XTV. We got to give thanks to the people who make sure that you not only watch it on YouTube, but that you actually take the time out. I don't take a lot of time. I don't cost you a cent. And there will be no harassment. It's just make the relationship official. Subscribe. XTV Belize on YouTube. All right? Make that step. Right now, we are take ourselves one time out for the next 20 odd hours, and then we come back 6:30 for the Tuesday morning edition of Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. As always, stand strong and stand firm. Give thanks to the crew, Larry G at Crim Radio, at XTV, Cliff Lewis, the glue and our director this morning, Miss Christy Flores. Belize, we're gone!
Wake up, Belize. 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 Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na.